art can mean different things to different people. For me, it's all about the joy of creating. So if you draw, paint, write, dance, sing, craft, play air guitar, or even sculpt using nothing but mashed potatoes, consider yourself an artist and join the conversation. For the next half hour, meet the artist, learn about their inspiration, and enjoy the beauty of creativity. Welcome to Art Talk with John Cole Artist. And I guess we didn't mute like I thought we were going to mute. It's this IT stuff that just makes me crazy. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the John Cole Artist Art Talk. Now, tonight I have a very special guest. I have Paulina Fadrowska, all the way from Florida. Did I say it right this time, Paulina?
Close enough. Fadrowska. Hi, everyone.
Close enough for government work. Paulina is an amazing artist. I've never met her in person, so this is really the first time that we've had a face-to-face interaction. But I've looked over her website, which I'll bring up in a little bit. You do amazing work. You're an amazing photographer. You're an amazing graphic designer.
Thank you.
And what I really find spectacular, although all that is spectacular, is your work in artificial intelligence, which is one of the reasons that I really want to have this conversation tonight, because that's a subject that is fascinating. It's an up and coming art form. And based on what I see on your website and the brief conversation we had, you're the perfect person to kick off that conversation. So Paulina, welcome. And if you wouldn't mind, if you could introduce yourself to folks, that would be amazing.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much, John, for having me. I appreciate being able to be a vocal point in just the digital and artistic capabilities of photography, design, and now AI, which is coming on board in STEAM. So a little bit of background on me. I primarily focus my art in photography, digital, and virtual reality, and a little bit of everything. As I mentioned to John earlier, I consider myself like an octopus, where I kind of have different branches that, extend to so many different creative areas and outlets, which enhances me the ability to kind of say, hey, what do you think about this? And then bring it together. So that's my kind of world. And I've been doing this about 15 to 20 years. So I'm not giving my full age out there, but if you do the math, you can kind of guess. And hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah, Beth Nagel Griffin, she says hello there. And I've got this woman named Christine Cole. Hello, beautiful souls.
Hello.
Christine just so happens to live in the same house as me. It's the strangest thing. I don't know how that turned out. And of course, Robin C says, yay, Paulina is so creative and extremely talented at what she does. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you, Robin.
And Lucinda, who got us together.
Hi, Lucinda.
She says, hi, guys.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think the subject of artificial intelligence in art, right?
Yeah.
There seems to be kind of a debate going on about whether or not AI really how do I want to put this? Whether or not AI is going to help the artistic community or hurt the artistic community, right? There seems to be two sides of that, right?
Right.
So, and what I'm seeing, what you're doing seems to be extremely creative. But on the other side, having dabbled in it a little bit, I know that number one, from a consumer perspective, it seems like it still needs to get a little further, or maybe not,
A little
right?
bit more friendlier. Yeah.
Right. So my question to you right out the gate here would
Sure.
be, since you have created some stunning pieces with AI, are you one of those folks that finds that will in fact be a tool that will be helpful for us artists in the
Oh,
future, or do you think that there's room there where it can be an issue?
and I absolutely feel like it's a beneficial tool, and it really levels out the ground field for everyone to become creative and tap into their creative source. AI, I look at as a tool. So like earlier on, if you go back into the early, 40s, 50s, where they had to stencil and use actual hands to do typography,
Mhm.
to do ads and everything else, this was all done by hand before Photoshop came in and before all these different kind of digital softwares. Again, gave the ability for new designers, new creative, new talent, new innovation to happen. And this is what AI is going to bring essentially to the world, is a brand new innovation, a brand new system, and at a quicker speed. So it elevates and removes kind of like the middleman, in a sense.
Right.
A scenario would be like create a mood board or a story or some kind of inspiration that you're trying to get as an artist. So instead of having to do all this conversation or looking back or research or anything else like that, you can type in these particular prompts to say, hey, I'm thinking X, Y, and Z in
Mhm.
this kind of location. Give me some inspiration and ideas. And then it kind of feeds you kind of like what you want to get started with. So I think it's a great tool in getting inspiration, also producing products and merchandise.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Matter of fact, I've dabbled with Adobe Firefly
Yes.
and dabble with OpenAI. And for those that aren't familiar with those 2 consumer end products, and again, I'm not quite sure what you're using.
Midjourney. I
Mid
love Midjourney.
okay.
Yes. And
Um,
yeah, and I oh go sorry.
no, 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 go ahead, please.
I'm very chatty, so like I'm super excited about this world and everything else in it. With Midjourney, I know like with the artists and everything else I've been dabbling into this, like the frustration with it is the hands. So AI and all that whole thing. Have you noticed that at all with some of the work you've done yet or no?
With hands?
Or yeah, like the hands are all deformed or crazy or like they just don't exist or they're popping out somewhere it shouldn't be, and all this stuff. So like it's there, but it's not 100%. So there are a lot of faults and errors that come in between. However, I find Midjourney to excel versus Adobe Firefly. And where Midjourney I feel can be better, that Adobe Firefly does do better, is that they compensate artists that they do
Okay.
take from. So that's the biggest difference. And I think that if uh, Midjourney offered that as an option, would be phenomenal to do.
Yeah, yeah, 2 things on that. Number 1, the hand business. As a matter of fact, I
Yes.
just posted on the artist site, some upcoming folks for the show, and of course, I'm a big fan of Bigfoot and Sasquatch and all this other stuff, so I had it draw me a Sasquatch, and would you know, it's got, like, 10 fingers on one hand
Yeah,
and, like, a double hand on the other side. But you know what? It's art. So,
that's right.
for now, it's art. Take it for what it is, right?
That's right.
Um,
Yes, yes, yes.
and then, the other part that I'm noticing with again, like Firefly and with OpenAI is that sometimes, well, for one thing, it doesn't do human faces well. So I don't know about Midjourney. Maybe that's a step above,
Oh, it's
right?
it's pretty close. So if you go into my Facebook page, those that are here and following, I
Mhm.
actually did a memory from Poland using AI.
Really?
It was when I was a little girl going through the countryside in Poland. I remember vividly like these hills and these bunkers and like cows that were in the scene. And me as a creative, I'm always finding ways to like express myself or find a
Mhm.
way to do things. And this was a perfect option for me to bring in AI into recreating a memory for me. And so
Wow.
I'm exploring and the details and recreating memories as a child. One of them is going to be like my first kiss, and where that was, and just all these cute little things that just like stick out throughout my life where I want to recreate.
Right. So could you tell everybody basically how that works, right? Because I'm assuming that
Check.
Midjourney's text based, right?
Correct. Yes. So you have to have a Discord account,
Mhm.
and then just go through the process of onboarding. And hi, Cedric. Hi, Jacob. Just want to say hi, Tiago. Thank you so much. Just want to squeeze and say hello. um, if you jump in through Midjourney to Discord and connect that way, that's the initial area where you get the prompts. You get directed into their main server, which shows you all the different cool art that's being like created, and you see creativity from everybody that's using the actual platform. And
Mhm.
some of the stuff that I've seen is people creating like coloring books with it and then going to the marketplace and selling it, creating like different posters or creating just storytelling, through their own
Right.
life or maybe something that they envision would happen in the future. So again, this taps into like really everyone has the level field to be a creative. As long as you have an interesting mind or imagination or things that you can complex and bring together, I think this will only spearhead creativity and innovation in that area.
Yeah, I guess I guess I'm a little I guess I have this conundrum in my head because you said some interesting things
Sure.
there. The first
Yeah,
one, of course, is putting everybody on that level playing field, right?
correct.
So I could knock on my neighbor's door next door. They can create a Midjourney account, Discord account, get in. They
Yep.
can basically, I guess once they understand how the text prompts work to provide a result,
Mhm.
that guy over there could sit down and do it,
Yeah.
send this thing to market. make
Yeah,
$1,000,000. Meanwhile,
they
I
can.
just
Yeah.
well, maybe not 1,000,000, I'll 500,000, whatever, who
Exactly.
knows?
Growth for
Meanwhile
infinite.
meanwhile, I just dropped $30,000 on a graphic design degree,
Mhm.
and now I'm competing with that person, or
Yeah.
do I have a leg up because perhaps or do I? Maybe that's the
I
question.
think I think creatives, well, here's the thing. So particular prompts give you different kind of results. So you have to creatively, strategically know what kind of prompts to enter to
Mhm,
get the particular result you want to get. So like photorealistic, ultra high quality, futuristic, neon, art deco. There's a million different combinations you can come up with a creative. So again, it goes back to like photography. When I'm looking at a photograph, right? The way I see it, the way I look at it is a completely different lens than the way you would see it, and you would interpret it completely different. So when you go into these particular AI software and you put in the prompts, whatever your neighbor's putting in is going to have a whole different output than what you will. So no matter what, it's going to be different to a certain level and degree. So like my mindset and the way I think and how I am creatively and how I, just within challenging myself within the creative scope will differ than someone who's just onboarding, who has no idea yet. So again, there's still levels of growth and ability to get there and to like use all this cool technology that's ahead. But every output's going to be a little bit different. And so like they're also introducing video now. Google, it's called Google Magic, I think Magic, something Magic. Correct me later on, but Google just launched a really cool video to chat, text to
mhm.
video capabilities. So
Yeah, on TikTok, I think if I'm not mistaken, I've seen a couple AI generated commercials, which quite
yeah.
frankly, at this stage, because 'cause we're still in the I mean, they are hilarious. I mean, I think it was a beer commercial or something I happened to catch on TikTok, and it must have been
Yeah.
it's like the funniest thing I ever saw, like these creepy people in
Yeah.
the just
Yeah.
nuts, right? But, I
You're
mean, that's
stuck in a dimension somewhere. Yeah.
yeah, but that's a huge accomplishment. I mean, and see, I think that's really what so 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 I think the audience,
It's
needs to
like
understand.
dreams. It's
What's
like
that?
dreaming. It's like
Yeah.
when you go to sleep and you're dreaming in your mind and you're creating this image,
Mhm.
AI kind of works in that way where it's like this pool of infinite consciousness that pulls from everyone and everybody and creates something, and I know a lot of like designers get hooked onto, and I know this is one of the biggest, cons against artists is like it's stealing, right?
Right,
But
right.
artists, we're stealing all the time. You steal inspiration, you
Yeah.
steal different things. I mean, remember like in the early 90s, and I discussed this with you, where you would go through the magazines and cut out different, photographer images that you loved and you composited your own artwork or whatever it was. So there's always like pull from inspiration. I mean, we come on this planet with nothing. We're leaving with nothing. So just leave something for the next generation to love and observe and look back upon and see like where we're at, where we're human beings in 2012 comparison to 2023. What
Mhm.
are we going to leave behind
Right.
for the next generations to come?
Yeah, and that idea of leaving behind your dreams in the form of artificially intelligent created. I mean, that's a beautiful thought, really, when you think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned
Yeah.
earlier about you being able to recreate this scene from what you
Yes.
remember, and now you're looking at
Yeah.
these other things. I mean, that's really what you're doing, so that in and of itself, I
Yes.
think, is worth folks to just take a look at,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
It's a beautiful concept, and then again, it just allows people to flourish that never thought they could.
Right.
For design studios, you have the ability now to come in and create a whole presentation, and this is again, time is critical in anybody's life, right?
Mhm.
So having this technology cuts your time and gives you life. It gives you more ability to do so much more with your life because it cuts the middleman. It cuts the middle process. So like when I first started in digital, I used to do digital manipulation. So literally I had to cut out all these different things and composite it all together. And that took 4 to 6 hours, sometimes even more. And then let a client come back and say, no, I don't like that. I want to change the colors or whatever. You're like, oh, or
Mhm.
let a Photoshop a file fail, right? Or get an
Right.
error. And you're just like, really, I have to redo all of this again. So AI gives you the ability to do that in seconds and minutes. And then, you then can build, either do an actual photo shoot around it, because AI still is not going to get it 100%. It's not there yet. But you can get the overall feel or direction for something and say, you know what, this I love. I love this direction. This is amazing. And head into that direction.
Right.
Hello, Gustav. Hi, honey.
So what about have you ever done this where you've perhaps started to put together a mood board or something, right, with different ideas for a particular project, um,
Yes.
and then find that perhaps one of the AI rendered images is close but not quite, and then have you ever gone in then with a different software tool like Photoshop or
Yes.
Illustrator and then modify, especially with the finger business, right? You got 6 fingers, you only
Yeah.
need 5, right?
Yeah.
That's something that I think would be possible, right?
Yes. A
Um,
million percent. If that's something that you really want to make sure it's polished and absolutely
yeah,
to your liking, your desire. Yeah. Oh yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
Now
Fine tune it.
as far as, ownership, now that this I think is a really good question to ask you because you do have experience with
Topic.
Midjourney.
Yes.
Because I know with Firefly right now, when you're rendering, like I said, I did Sasquatch holding a
Yes.
sign, that's what I rendered and then I posted it, right? But
Mhm.
it's very, very clear in their, um, end user agreement that you can't do anything commercial with it.
Commercial, correct. You
Right,
cannot, not yet.
right.
Right. Yeah.
So
Not
is
yet. But it's coming down the line.
but it is so I would imagine then at some point, I mean, right now, Firefly's like that's a tongue twister. Firefly is free, right?
Yeah.
Of course, there's a little logo at the bottom, which, if you're a graphic designer, it's really easy to get rid
Yeah.
of. And matter of
Right.
fact,
That's right.
Adobe, the same company, makes it easy for you to get rid of that. Um, but I mean, I would imagine at some point, as the technology, because it's moving fast,
Absolutely.
you know,
Absolutely. It's
I would
there.
imagine they'll probably put in some kind of tiered, payment structure, just like every other software.
They
You know,
will. And Midjourney does that. So
they
I
do.
have a paid subscription with Midjourney. It's about 20, no, 30. I think I got the $30 package.
Okay.
For quicker rendering and everything else. Have my own private channel, and yeah,
Right.
that's where I'm at with that.
Yeah, like it or hate
But
it, I think that's just the way we're doing business these days on the IT side.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I say embrace it. Don't, embrace it. It's going to become standard norm. It's going to be built into a lot of the software that you're currently using. I'm sure Adobe Firefly is going to work with Illustrator and
Right.
Photoshop and all that. Canva right now is doing phenomenal in this area.
Mhm.
It's text to image, and as well as like the magic creator, where you can just spotlight a particular area on the image and type in, I want a necklace here, draping, and AI will completely create that for you right within
Right.
that particular area. Or do a magic eraser and get that out. And again, coming from someone that's worked with Photoshop for hours, for me to do that in a second, that just gives me more space and ability to get more creative, right? To
Yeah.
add more, to do more. So it takes out the boring time and the things that I really don't want to do, per se.
Yeah, and for those that are just starting out, it might seem like a lot of fun until you do realize 4 or 5 hours have gone by and you still don't have that necklace done.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah. So
um,
that's a magnitude helper. And then, who knows where else this is going to go in the future, and how it's going to work with, art worlds, and going to like an art gallery, or, what you're going to see on TV, what you're going to see, if even TV is going to be around anymore, but like
yeah.
VR, you know, your mobile handset and everything else. So yeah,
Yeah,
the
'cause I mean,
capabilities are there.
so where do you think it's headed?
Oh, I don't even know. That's a lot to say. I think definitely robotics will kind of play something into that. So like
Mhm.
robots, and I think maybe something with like hospitals, children hospitals, um, creativity with kids, especially in the classroom, and creating innovation. Medical fields, I see that maybe happening, like creating different, futuristic devices, or things or concepts. Um, Even as a entrepreneur, innovator, let's say you're creating like some kind of product, to use AI to just start innovating a concept for you. Hey, I want to create, this garden hose that's futuristic with whatever happening, and you have like options just to start pulling some creative ideas. So
Right.
this can be absolutely anywhere, in cars, in computers. What does the computer of 2050 look like? Is it
Mm.
just like a teleporter? I mean, I don't know, but the innovation here to brainstorm things is a lot quicker. So everything's a little bit more, fast paced.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, I would like to see. Well, yeah, I mean, combining, I mean, using AI in general for all those things that you mentioned, I think is really going to advance us further along. I mean, we've made great strides over the last 50, 60 years anyway. I mean, I still remember
Yeah,
a tube television where my father would have to go to Radio Shack to buy the tube so the TV doesn't crap out, right? I mean, today,
yeah,
I mean, I think my wife and I just 3 or 4 months ago, we bought this freaking huge TV. Right?
yeah.
This I think it's the OLED. I mean, just I mean, you compare this TV with when I grew up, it's like,
Hmm.
it really is light years, and I
Yeah,
think with artificial intelligence and some of the other things, we're just going to see more of that. And then, of course, the innovation piece, right? We've got people like yourself, Paulina. We've got people that might be listening tonight, people that are making comments that might just start to dabble in this
yeah,
and end
yeah.
up coming up with some new great thing that can really help people.
And I encourage everyone to dabble and try it out, get into it. Going back to your comment on how Midjourney and some of these things work is just giving it a prompt, so giving it some words, giving it some visionary from your mind to text as of
Right.
now. Later on, who knows what it's going to be? I mean, I see like speech being, integrated where you just talk it out. I mean, that would be just more natural to be able to speak something and it happens,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, Beth writes, "I'm old school and very curious." That makes 2 of
And
us,
if you
Beth.
guys have any questions, please type them in there. I'd love to
Yeah,
answer any questions you may have.
by all means. Now, would you mind if what I'd like to share with the audience, if it's okay, is I wanna bring up your, website where you have a couple really good, actually, let me see, Gustavo says something. "Great insight. I was a little concerned about AI in my artwork, but Paulina makes a little makes a makes great points about LB cannot be used as advantages by embracing them quickly." I'm not sure about LB. Do you know what that means?
LB, no.
I don't know. Well,
So,
Gustavo, if you could clarify that, that would be awesome because we'd love to chat about it. But I would like to bring up your website that shows some of your artwork here, the AI stuff, because folks, I think you're really. Oh, he says sorry, autocorrect. Yeah,
it
dude, it happens
happens.
to me all the time. All
I
right,
was
I'm gonna.
like, wait, what term is this now?
Yeah. All right, let me get rid
Yeah,
of this banner that's over the top here, just so we can have a better picture here. All right, so
sure.
so there's 2 things here that I wanted to highlight. The first is the
Yeah.
series that you call Turquoise Bliss. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and click on
Mhm.
the shop button here, folks. Whoops,
Yep.
wrong screen. Here we go. I got 2 screens. Um, here we go. It's thinking. All right. So that's the hard part with
Yeah.
dealing with 2 screens. Now, folks, I want you to take a look at some of these, and I'll see. Do these? I don't think these get any bigger than what you're seeing, but what I'm looking at, this menagerie of animals, Paulina is stunningly gorgeous.
Thank you.
I
Thank you
mean,
so much.
the elephant, I mean, even the monkey on the computer, sometimes that feels like me. Just saying. So this was all this was all created. Is it a combination
With
of
a
artificial intelligence and your own color
correct.
management, maybe? Yeah.
Yes. Correct. Yes. Yes. There might have subtle touches with Photoshop, but majority is AI. So the majority of it is creating those prompts to get kind of the results I want. So with
Right.
Midjourney, once you create these prompts, what it does, it provides you with 4 different type of images that you can use. And
Hmm.
then based off of those 4 images, you can add on to that with additional prompts or just replicate it with different versions, or save it and then export it and then do as you please with it. So turquoise bliss for me is I love the color turquoise. And for me, it's a blissful color, and I just chose to optimize it in different animal settings and just get like whimsical and creative with it. Introduce like an an inspiration of like indie, a little bit of like retro into these shots, and definitely like fruit. I don't know why. I like vibrant fruit or different colors or balloons. It was just like my thing. Those were the prompts that I focused on and made sure that that was like represented in the artwork.
Yeah, and your added touches, I think, are really what bring these things to life, and it just goes to show, I suppose I answered my own question from earlier when I asked, "Here I spent all this money getting this degree, where does that come in?" And I think
Right.
that that could be or is most likely why these are really, really good and not just average, because I think what you're doing is you're taking this AI generated work and you're basically applying yourself to it, right? Not
That's
only in
right.
the words, like you were saying, this dreamlike atmosphere or this dreamlike quality, but now you're also going in there and using the talents that you have to make these things stand out, and they really, really stand out, Paulina. They really, really do.
To expand it. Thank you. Thank you so much. And then definitely I kind of just bring in my print with it so I could show you
Mhm.
guys like you can
Yeah, let me
legit bring it from the screen to, here in person.
wow,
So
that is beautiful.
just
That is
unwrapped
beautiful.
it, but it's beautiful. Yeah, I'm just looking at the different kind of papers and quality and then what I'm gonna put into galleries to sell. So yeah.
I have no doubt that those will sell because, again, those things are beautiful.
Thank you.
So
Thank you so much.
so one of the things also, and I think that folks might be interested in chatting about this, and I think Gustavo cleared himself, not cleared himself, made his statement without autocorrect coming in there and inserting itself. She makes great points about using this technology to be more efficient and enhance my own creativity. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And
Yay.
Robin C writes, those are beautiful, and they absolutely are.
Thank you. Thank you.
So gallery, right? Beautiful
Mhm.
prints. But then
Yep.
you have this other set of people that would
Mhm.
rather have their art perhaps on their phones. Maybe they want to trade them
Uh,
digitally. And of course, I'm
yeah.
referring to non-fungible tokens or NFTs.
NFTs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that world.
Yeah. I mean, what exactly is an NFT and what have you been doing in that world?
So NFT can literally be anything. It doesn't mean digital. The
Mhm.
first NFT home actually sold in the state of Florida. An NFT just means there's only one type of it that exists, and one meaning it's unique as in the character, the qualities, what it has, the particular item. It goes to a magnitude of different things into what makes that item particularly unique,
Okay.
and there's only one owner of that particular item. So with the blockchain technology, what that did was say, this particular home is owned by this person, releasing the middleman into saying who owns what property. So eliminates a lot of different middle sectors, and easy to look up on the internet, the contract, see what's in it, et cetera, and it's pretty much available for anybody in the
Mhm.
public to view. Um, so the contract also supports like things later on in the future. So like with the art world, what we did was we hosted our first NFT event out in California,
Mhm.
and I got to be introducing NFTs to some of the new onboarders and comers, and also people who are kind of experts in the field and
Mhm.
collecting NFTs. So we had an artist that was offering his first NFT, and users that purchased the NFT were introduced to like future things that the artist was providing. So like merchandise or like future shows or future things. They're only limited amount that was available to give away. And so whoever owned that particular piece would have, future rights to something. So like an NFT, if you think of it, was almost like a digital reward card in some
Mhm.
sense too,
Okay.
where you can have some particular rewards in the future. Or if you come to a concert, if you show this NFT, you get in, for free or half off, or you get this free t-shirt with it, or, whatever that particular contract was upholding with that NFT. Hopefully that made sense.
It did. I think it's probably a bigger conversation than just a few minutes that we have left, but,
Yeah.
so just so I don't
I see it in the future coming
yeah,
back, because AI, going back to AI and like this deep fake kind of thing that's happening where, the most recently I know they created some Trump, um,
yes,
yeah, with
yeah,
AI. So like, a lot of people thought it was real, but they were not. They were generated by AI. Elon Musk is another target, for getting all that stuff. Of course, the presidents. So I think down the line, a lot of the blockchain and creating that like authentic and transparency may come in the future with
right,
this AI component. I'm not sure how that's all going to play out yet, but in my mind, I see that kind of collaboration happening.
right. So with the NFTs though, just to finish out my thought because,
Yeah,
I don't only because I really, really wanna know. With NFTs, I think one of the key selling points with that is that with that blockchain associated, that's kind of like a certificate of authenticity in a way, right? So
correct.
if I were to create something and I were to, I think they call it minting, right?
Yes,
You'd
yes,
mint it through one of these companies that does this, then
like OpenSea, yes,
right.
Rarible,
So
yes,
there really isn't any way to duplicate it because if you did, because the blockchain would be either different or there wouldn't be one. I mean, I could screen print, right?
right,
Um,
you can screen print. Mhm.
and that I guess would also help the artists' copyright rights as well, right? Because right now that's a big problem,
Yeah, yeah.
you know?
Well, if you think about it, go back to Adobe Firefly and like Midjourney, all these companies are soon to be, in the future,
Mhm.
months from now. If that blockchain supported that, then those funds would go directly to all the artists that are involved. So
Right, right,
that would be a beautiful process, right? So if you upload your artwork right away on your website, um, Wix, whatever you're using, Squarespace, anything WordPress, and this is just a hypothetical situation. I don't know if this is happening, but give me like some royalties if it does, or if I give you an idea. But if you upload it and it automatically gets converted to the blockchain, says this particular image is X, Y, and Z, it's own to me.
right,
And let's say I add into that NFT, into that spec, into that image I uploaded, I said, John, you worked on it with me too. And you get 10% if this image ever gets used or whatever, or 20%. And then I donate 5% to the local school, because I love this school. And then another 5% to, the museum of wherever. And let's say that image then gets used in one of these AI softwares and somebody purchases it that way through a membership or a monthly deal or whatever that they have going on with the software,
right.
then that compensates the school, the museum, me, you, and whatever they decide to do with it later on.
Hmm,
And then the beautiful thing about the blockchain technology is, let's say 6 months from now, or 3 months, or 4 months from now, he decides to do something else with that image, okay? And he resells it or does something. Again, you get some portion of the money, I get portion, the school, the museum, etc. So it's
right,
like this continuous royalty that keeps going and giving for the rest of perpetual life, and after you're no longer here,
right.
it just keeps going.
Yeah, that would definitely be a big advantage, to artists that they're missing right now. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, for
So,
sure. Yes.
before we close,
Yeah.
Robin C had a really good question. Paulina, what is one of your most favorite works using AI?
Of mine, or an AI artist?
What is one of your most favorite works? Well, maybe you could answer both questions.
Cool. Well, there's an artist. I can't remember him from the top of my head, but I'm gonna pass on the information to you, John, later so you can plug it in.
Okay.
But he creates like grandmother and grandfather replications of like them in a younger form. So they're like wearing these bright colors and color combinations and polka dots and umbrellas, and they're like in these Mediterranean environments. It's just so like vibrant and so pop and so 1950s.
Mhm.
And then there's like this young fun element to it, because you know how like the older generation gets placed into like frumpy, kind of grumpy,
Yeah,
kind of like, and so it's really beautiful to see, someone wearing such vibrant colors and just look like they're enjoying life and living it up. And that's what I really appreciated about his art, was just like, whoa, he kind of like leveled up the, you don't have to be so blah, like you
yeah.
could be
Dodgy, right,
vibrant.
yep.
So it's opening the door to viewing another world, another way. Yeah. And then one of my favorite pieces that I made, I probably would say the Royal Pie collection. That was just inspired on like what would the queens of the world kind of look like and enjoy while they're eating their favorite piece of pie.
Yeah, folks,
the
I
food.
didn't bring that up, folks, but hopefully, Paulina, you'll come back and visit me again, in which case we can bring those up and we'll check those out.
I'm a
My heavens.
blast.
I cannot believe that all this time flew by so quick, but amazing
Yeah.
conversation, Paula. I so much
Yes.
appreciate you taking the time to be on with me.
Thank you. Thank you
And
so much for having me.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. And like I said, hopefully you'll come back and we can do this again because I think AI, NFTs, graphic design in general and where artists are headed between now and wherever we head. Because earlier you even mentioned, virtual reality, you mentioned a whole bunch of different technologies, which
Yeah.
as they move faster and faster, it's going to give us a heck of a lot more opportunities to be creative, to really express ourselves in ways that we probably never thought we could.
Yep. Can I give one thing that I feel is gonna happen in the future? You're gonna walk the internet. Like, as you walk this world right now,
Yeah,
like, we're like, this is like a matrix. We're gonna
yeah.
be walking into the internet matrix. We're gonna be able to walk into, like, Facebook headquarters and look at all that stuff and interact with them. Like, that's coming.
I believe you. I
Yeah.
believe you.
Yeah.
Now, if folks wanted to get a hold of, if folks want to get a hold of you, what's the best way to do that?
Through my website, Paulina Fadrowska or Gallery by Paulina. Hit me
Okay.
up on there.
There's a URL at
Yeah.
the bottom, and that's your business site primarily.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And then you also have a gallery site, and the gallery site contains some of those AI. I'm going to say it's augmented by Paulina AI artwork. So if you guys are interested, check it out. Again, beautiful pieces, and of course, there's a whole
Thank you.
whole other section that we didn't bring up. But again, Paulina, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
again. Thank you so much for having me and letting me just chit chat about this cool world. And I challenge you, all of you today that listen to this podcast, to go and try AI and send it our way. Show us what you make.
All right, Paulina, thanks, and have a wonderful evening.
You too. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Thank you so very much for joining me on the Art Talk podcast, where it's my goal to bring artists together to talk about their craft. If you'd like to join me for a conversation, please reach out via email at johncoleartist@gmail.com or by visiting my website at johnrobertcole.com. So until next time, keep crafting, painting, and inspiring others with your creativity. You make more of an impact than you know. See ya.